Well, this particular area of our studio gardens has been quite a favorite place to visit, especially for our visitors to the studio gardens. And I thought I'd bring you up to date on this project that we actually did early on in the spring. We just call this particular design a tree collar. And what we've done is, again, we've put a barrier back behind the planting area against the tree. There's a 2x2 there with some chicken wire, and that way the soil does not snug or fit right up against the tree. A lot of people are concerned we're going to kill the tree, and we probably could. So there's air and space down in there. As a matter of fact, we found a snake living down in there a few weeks ago. But then we went out about 4 to 6 inches with burlap and more chicken wire. We filled the center of that with soil, and then we just cut holes in the chicken wire and the burlap and stuck in our transplants of impatiens. And as the season progresses, sure enough, they're starting to fill in, and you can't see that background. And as the season progresses, it will hopefully improve even more. Now, this dries out quite a bit, so we put in some polymers to help keep it moist, but we still have to water it probably every 2 to 3 days throughout the summer. But it's in shade. It really is very interesting. And again, it'll probably last 1 year. We'll pull it away, and we shouldn't have any harm to the hackberry tree. We've also done something a little unique over here with a whiskey barrel. We've turned it on its side, put a little bit of potting soil on the inside and out to the front, planted impatiens, so the intent is to look like it turned over and spilled out color using some particular plants. Now, we'll probably come in and plant pansies in this in the fall to get a little bit more usage out of it. But the whiskey barrel is very interesting, as well as the history of it. You know, you want to keep them moist so they don't shrink on you, but as we were researching this, we found that this particular planter or planting idea was introduced in the year of 1975, where they used whiskey barrels for containerized plantings. And you know, 1975 was also the first year that Oklahoma gardening hit the air. So we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we thought it'd be pretty fun to take maybe a nostalgic look back at what happened with gardening and other things in the year 1975. Now, if you really want to test your knowledge and show your age, you'll know that a stamp costs 13 cents. Mood rings were a big hit and sold for $2.99 a piece, and the top songs were The Hustle and Love Will Keep Us Together. Well, nonetheless, things change obviously over 20 years and prosper. And let's talk about some of the things that were introduced in 1975 and what's happened since then. 1975 was also the first year that weedless gardening really was introduced. And that was the year that they started talking about how you could use black plastic mulch in your landscape. And of course, we know that that's really not a popular thing up through 20 years later. It was also the year that cordless lawnmowers were first introduced into the market. The Carefree brand from Toro, which was a battery-charged lawnmower, and you could run, probably a little more than an hour on a single charge. It's hard to believe how that's changed, and of course there have been a couple of more brands or models introduced since that time. Also, with the high inflation that was occurring during that time, community gardens became a big thing, where people could grow vegetables even if they were in an urbanized setting on a piece of land set aside maybe by a city, and they could use those vegetables to help fight those inflation prices. Also, it's hard to believe that Lyme disease was first really identified back in that year, and it was named after Lyme, Connecticut, where it was first found. That was also the year that New Guinea impatiens were introduced into the landscape. Actually, some horticulturists from various organizations went over to the country of New Guinea and brought back the New Guinea impatiens, which are native to that area. And of course, there are literally hundreds of cultivars of those now. And remember, they're the ones that get a little bit taller and prefer a little bit more sun. Also, the candy cane zinnia, Ambrosia Cantalope, in 1975 was Spellbinder was the rose of the year. So some of those things are still used today. Ambrosia Cantalope is a favorite for most home gardeners. And again, if you followed us on the show this year with our 20th anniversary, you'll know that we've planted an anniversary garden, and we've got some really interesting plants in there. So I'd like to take you over and we'll look at some of those new introductions in our anniversary garden.